Mr. President, I've just received word that our Consul General in Shenyang, Mr. Ward, has been deported by the communists.
That's unbelievable. It's too bad. I don't understand the behavior of the Chinese Communist Party.
Well, maybe this is not such a surprise. Ever since Ambassador Bright came back to the United States, we worried about China getting closer to the Soviet Union, and it appears this is now the case.
I know. You know, since the so-called Wardley incident, I suggested that we send planes, send an attack group, and rescue the ambassador, so that we could save this whole embarrassing situation for the government. But the military said no. Not only can we not rescue Wardley, but we'll start continuing war with China. So
Sir,
now what do we have? We have this embarrassing situation. It's a humiliation to the United States, and this Wardley fellow's an embarrassment to all of America.
Well, sir, this is not the main issue. Ever since the communists accused Ward of spying, we've been taking a low-key approach. Maintaining diplomatic contact has not been working.
I know.
Mr. President, I really don't think Ward is the main issue. I'm much more worried about the fact that all of our consulates in China may get closed. And if that happens, it'll be very difficult for us to influence and affect our policy in China.
I know. I just can't accept this failure. And this Chinese Communist Party, they must pay for this rude behavior. So, what else do we have, General?
Well, CIA agent Lowell Thomas has entered Tibet.
Mr. Richardson, I really am grateful for your referral. It enabled me to meet with the Dalai Lama and the Living Buddha on such short notice.
Actually, with regard to the future of Tibet, your American government and our Indian government's goals are aligned.
The Chinese Communist Party has high aspirations for the future of Tibet. Their military incursion is only a matter of...
这确实是一个值得欢呼、值得庆祝的日子。从那一天起，中国人民的社会主义建设得到了苏联人民的大力支持和帮助。
Dean, we have not been able to stop, in the end, this alliance between Stalin and Mao Zedong. You predicted that perhaps between the railway issues, Lucien and Dalian, the conflict between the two. But the fact is, Stalin holds Mao Zedong in such high regard.
Well, this is certainly a surprise. Stalin never spoke so highly to President Roosevelt or Prime Minister Churchill. There's no doubt that signing a Soviet treaty of friendship has severely damaged our China hopes.
You know, Dean, the worst thing of all of this is now the wheel of world politics spinning on the axis of Moscow and Beijing. MacArthur, you were principal for 2 times at West Point. Do you remember the school's motto?
Responsibility, honor, country.
Right now, what would you say is the most important thing we need to do for this responsibility, honor, country for the U.S.?
Collective defense system in the West Pacific. During this Cold War, this is the most important piece for the United States of America. It is essential to stop the spread of communism in the Far East region. Considering the Far East region's post-war situation where development and rebuilding is needed to establish strong and stable politics and build a defense system accordingly.
Mr. President, you said a year ago that the situation in Asia is always very weird. It's like a horse race scenario. The problem is, we picked the wrong horse. History has shown us that it's the most incompetent and corrupt we have ever seen.
That's very true. You know, both of you, that the Kuomintang ruled several years in China and then moved to Taiwan and set up their power point there. And in the mainland, we have the Chinese Communist Party taking on the ideology of Marx and Lenin, forming strong red China. Now we have this new force changing the balance in Asia. And then on top of that, we have North Korea. And in Southeast Asia, we have Vietnam. And together with China, they form this base that we have waiting for the Soviet Union to come in, exert its influence, and change the whole balance of the region.
That's right. And if India and Pakistan turn communist, then the United States and its allies will lose its foothold in Asia. And Soviet power in Asia will change the whole world balance of power. The National Security Council have said that, from a military basis, the United States must maintain a minimum balance in Asia.
President and Secretary of State, you are absolutely correct. Secretary of State, at the beginning of the war, we once discussed the need for a Western Pacific collective defense system. This line of defense begins at the Aleutian chain and spans to Japan and the Ryukyu Islands, spanning all the way down here to the Philippine Islands. The Soviets' military development strength supports its quest for world domination. The Soviet armed forces, in reality, have already gone far beyond their boundaries that allow them to effectively defend their own territory. This kind of excess power requires the addition of the nuclear bomb. And this bomb gives the Soviets a very coercive power source in times of peace.
Go on.
The communists have succeeded in China, Southeast Asia, and South Asia and other neighboring regions because of their economic circumstances, giving the Soviet Union a step closer, making a springboard into this troubled region. In order to combat this, the United States of America must spread the message that it is establishing a politically free world using its economic and military power.
Can you be more specific?
This will encourage the spread of pro-American sentiment in all non-Soviet countries. And we'll need to provide aid to all those countries that are willing and able to contribute to the safety and security of America by strengthening that political and economic stability and improving their military strength. Bluntly put, I'm talking about South Korea and President Chiang Kai-shek's Taiwan. We cannot allow the Soviets to use the Korean Peninsula as a springboard into the Pacific. We must rearm Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan as strategic defense circle in the Far East. Need I be more specific?
What's your plan?
First, we must change both your naive perspectives. January 5th and 10th this year, you both made separate statements asserting that America at present has no special interest in gaining power in Taiwan, and that the American line of defense did not include Taiwan, nor did it include South Korea, and America would not, in defense of these countries, deploy U.S. forces to the region. The second point is this. Syngman Rhee early on was interested in acquiring North Korea. We want to press him to win this war for a unified Korea. This way we can cut off the Soviets' expansion into Southeast Asia. Thirdly, immediately deploy the 7th Fleet set for the Straits of Taiwan.
Report.
Come in.
Mr. President.
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Thank you. It's okay. Go ahead, have a seat. This is bad. It says here, more supplies have arrived to North Korea from the Soviet Union. They've got here new Kasacha missiles and T-34 tanks. This is terrible. Take a look.
Syngman Rhee is even worse than Chiang Kai-shek. I must return to Tokyo at once.
Professor Brown.
Hello, how are you?
It's
Nice
so good to see you.
Hello.
She's such a wonderful teacher.
I'm so happy to see
It's so
you,
wonderful
Harry.
to see you.
So good to see you.
No, Harry. When Mr. Brown is here, it will be all right
That's
if
true.
he hugs.
There's more than just this
What?
time. But please, first let's sit down.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
It's a long story. We have this feud, this Lisa guy and I were in competition. You remember?
Lisa. Of
You
course
asked
I
Liz
remember
to
Lisa.
speak for us at the
He was a very
graduation.
handsome young man. Very smart. Very smart. Ah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Lisa,
Thanks.
Yes.
remember you asked to speak for our whole graduating class.
Yes, I remember.
I've told
I remember.
Elizabeth about this. And after the ceremony, you remember? You got up on stage and gave me a kiss.
Me?
And everybody was applauding.
I did that? I don't
It's
think
true.
so, Harry. I don't
And
think
what
so.
happened after that? I talked to Elizabeth about this.
Yes, Elizabeth said that?
I did. Yeah.
20 boys came around and wanted to know why Lisa got the kiss. And do you know what you said to them?
I
You
told
said, Harry,
yes.
if you study as hard as that teacher, that Lisa, you could get the kiss.
I said that.
And if you get a good
it
job
was me.
and a career,
I said that?
you could claim that kiss. Well, I, as President of the United States, now feel qualified, and I'm serious.
Oh, Harry, if you say
I'm
so.
serious. I feel it's a matter of my honor.
Oh, Harry, if you say so.
I want everyone in Independence, Missouri, and my graduating class to know
Okay, Harry, okay.
that. Okay, so
Yes,
finally,
you're telling too
please,
much over there.
I go halfway.
Okay, yes.
Mr. President, sir.
Yes?
It's the Assistant Secretary of State for UN Affairs, John Hickson. He requests to speak with you urgently.
It's John Hickson, Assistant Secretary of Human Affairs for the United Nations. He should know Human Affairs by now. Tell him it's the weekend to check his calendar, okay?
Okay, sir, but he did say it was a very important international situation he needed to report.
Tell you what, have him talk to his boss, Secretary of State Acheson, and have him explain it.
Yes,
This
sir.
is my time, and I'm enjoying this visit with the professor.
Okay.
Harry, we've only sat down for 2 minutes
Hello,
in this.
Mr. Hickson. The President asked you to go back and check your calendar. It's the weekend today. He doesn't care if war has broken out between North and South Korea, or if the Soviet Union has attacked
Wait,
Washington. It's the weekend.
Wait, Robert. Robert, let me take that call. This is so aggravating to me. Hello?
know.
Yes, this is the President. Tell me what happened.
Envoy Dulles, please tell President Truman I advise assembling the 7th Fleet in the Philippines to immediately deploy it for Korea, just in case.
I'll certainly tell him.
Please tell the President that this is MacArthur's 4th war. Far East Command will work for an effective opposition and organize the Korean Army for a massive counteroffensive, knocking them back beyond enemy lines. No, knocking them back beyond the Yalu River.
I'm sure he'll be pleased you're in command, sir.
If, within 3 to 5 months, it isn't all over and the Korean Army can't regain lost ground, I will move the entire Far East Command to Korea.
Excuse me, sir.
I'm coming from Eastern Headquarters. I have a very important message for General MacArthur right now.
The General wants to see you. He's got something important to tell you.
I don't care what's going on here. I need to find someone responsible for everything.
I cannot let you in.
God damn it!
General, all of East Asia is under your command. I'm sure President Truman and the whole American people will be very relieved.
I mean all of Asia, and I'm not bragging.
The plane's about to take off, General. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Please tell the President not to worry.
That's one mad, uncontrollable bull. In the current situation, Seoul cannot be helped. But MacArthur, mad and uncontrollable as ever, is still boasting he can organize the Korean army and push beyond the Yalu River.
What I don't understand is how Lee Shen-wen has 150,000 troops, has American equipment, and American advisors, and has no power.
Well, we've still not heard from General MacArthur with the telegram, so maybe things are not as bad as we've been told.
For the nature and organization of the PLA attack, I'd say it's a serious assault on Korea. I believe the situation could be worse than we know. I recommend we immediately relieve MacArthur of command.
Mr. President, General MacArthur's telegram.
Oh, please, read it quick.
In the morning of the 25th, the North Korean military with 3 divisions waged war. The South Koreans have 4 divisions with a 5th on the way. According to the report, the defense plan has lost ground. According to MacArthur, the North Korean attack is very violent, and whatever the final strategic purpose is, not clear. Far Eastern Headquarters has ordered to send weapons to South Korea and send the Philippines 7th Fleet to North Korea just in case.
Okay. Thank you. You're dismissed.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I know that Lee's forces are not so powerful, but, Mr. President, do we do what MacArthur suggests, as he says?
Mr. President, we can't listen to MacArthur.
Yes, MacArthur is a crazy and boastful man. I think you should wait until we hear from the United Nations Security Council and see if a ceasefire is even possible. Then we can decide about the 7th Fleet, because the problem will still be there.
Well, I just hope that this Chung Wan Lee is not another Chiang Kai-shek.
Yeah, Chiang Kai-shek lasted 3 years. This Lee Shen-wen might not last 1 day.
General, President Truman orders Far East Command's Air Force and Naval Forces to deploy and aid South Korean forces with haste, General. But aircraft and battleships are only allowed to move south of the 38th parallel.
Those guys sitting in their offices, their greatest amusement is to issue orders for lack of something better to do. You listen to me now. Relay my command. Mobilize Air Force B-29 strategic bomber to strike, unimpeded, the North Korean airports, bridges, oil reserves, cannons, and other targets that should be destroyed. Air raid them.
Commander, presidential orders are to remain south of the 38th parallel.
He's always interfering with my war. Are you going to obey me or him?
Yes, sir.
Get on with it.
Yes, sir. Commander.
Do you want to listen to him?
No. During the Korean War, President Truman announced that Taiwan should remain neutral. 7th Fleet was ordered to encourage Taiwan to contain communist forces to liberate Taiwan. The KMT was maintaining forces for a Chinese offensive.
You can listen to him about that stuff.
Yes, sir.
What kind of reaction to the UN forces' victory in Jincheon are we getting back home?
The New York Times and Newsweek are just relaying information now. Time has an editorial article. The general idea is President Truman's methods for dealing with the Korean issue show signs of diplomatic genius.
And what are they saying about me?
And President Truman's request to summon the...
Just tell Washington I'd be pleased to convene with the President on the morning of the 15th on Wackay Island.
Huh?
Is there something unclear?
That arrogance! Expecting you to fly 4,700 miles. This is an insult. You wouldn't treat a dog like this. I'm sorry, Mr. President. I just can't stand this kind of thing.
I know. I think General MacArthur wants this meeting in order to establish more personal contact between us, because we've had very little in the past. Also, to be able to get to know his commander and as I, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, I need to get to know the supreme commanders in the field.
Well, look, we've been accommodating. Going to the Pacific is fine, but he's insisting you go to Wake Island. This is a challenge to you. It's challenging the authority of the President of the United States. And in fact, it's challenging the authority of the whole United States system of government.
Well, you know, since June, he's been reluctant to actually step in to help Li Chen-wen, and he lost. And the war is magnified. And I was against that. Then, he's gone to Taiwan, unauthorized, against my wishes, and had the nerve to invite Chiang Kai-shek to join the war in Korea, against all better judgment. And then, arbitrarily, he decides to bomb North Korea and just magnify this whole war. He's using this as a platform for his own self-confidence.
I think you should send another telegram saying you're not going anywhere. You're staying here in Washington. Let the idiot come and meet you here.
I know. But in this case, I think I need to go to Wake Island. I need to go, and I'll even give him a Medal of Honor of some sort. What does he like the most?
I don't know, but I think he likes a Distinguished Service Medal. He's got 5 of them.
Okay. Let's give him a Distinguished Service Medal and even give him a box of his favorite candy. It's a Wee Shui blue candy.
Doesn't sound like a fancy food.
I know. But I heard he likes it. Okay?
我们也得到了情报，共军13兵团没有北上，因为他们的邓华司令员昨天还在海南岛出席什么庆祝大会。再说，他们就算对增援朝鲜有意图的话，也无需把一个在大南边的兵团往北调，他们完全可以动用华北的部队。
谁都清楚，华北部队是共军的战略机动部队，他们一般不会动用这个部队。
朝鲜都发生战争了，这还是小事吗？
那就是我的情报出了问题。
我们的情报也不一定准确，但我相信最准确的情报来源还是在蒋主任那里。
我们先别说什么情报，就说我们和共产党打了这么多年的交道，凭我们的直觉，你们说，共军什么时候出兵？先生，你说说。
我再想想吧。
那好，今天已经很晚了，会就暂时开到这里。但是，我希望你们都能想一想，共军会什么时候出兵朝鲜？我们必须对这个问题要有一个准确的判断。散会。
MacArthur, for you.
The President is aware of my sweet tooth, huh?
Please. General, what can we do for military action for this Korean War to get settled?
Mr. President, sir, From the UN Army's successful landing at Incheon, as the highest-ranking commander in the UN Army, I haven't considered how the war should be fought. I've thought long and hard about the post-victory American military dispatch and organizational management issues in post-war Korea. It's October now. I hope that by around Christmas time to be able to send back the 8th Army to Japan. By the beginning of next year, we can send UN monitors to oversee all of Korea's democratic elections.
Did I hear you right? 3 months until the end of the war?
Absolutely correct.
General, I am amazed and admire your absolute confidence. But what about the intervention of Soviet and Chinese into this Korean War?
Probability 0. If at the outset of war, Soviet and Chinese didn't know that UN forces had landed at Incheon, then deployed troops to aid Kim Il-sung, then you, Mr. President, and myself would not be at Wake Island discussing the war in Korea. Because Kim Il-sung has absolutely already begun the land reform all over Korea. If America really wants to go to war with them, then the president is suffering from a wet brain.
Well. But we have reliable information that there are large combat force gathered in China at the Yalu riverside.
Chinese have 300,000 troops in Manchuria. On the Yalu River, around 120,000. Of those, 50 to 60,000 are genuinely capable of crossing the Yalu and engaging in combat. Let's imagine an army of 60,000 troops without an airborne force to shear them. Fight a well-equipped and modernized 150,000 men armed forces with 1,200 aiding aircraft. We might say that their leaders are the ones with the wet brains. If the Chinese army, if they really cross the southern Yalu River into Pyongyang and face off against the strong offensive of the UN forces, they will bleed the rivers, of course, only if they enter the war.
If the Soviet Union supports the Chinese army and joins China in the war?
If it's the Battle of Midway, or your servant invents a more tactical island, I, Commander MacArthur, have led how many joint sea and air strikes, achieved how many glorious victories, but to those of you sitting before me who know mainland China, which one of you has served over 2 tours of duty with UN forces? Soviet planes support Chinese combat? This is an asinine question. I'll bet you. The Soviet Air Force bombing the Chinese has the same odds as the Soviets bombing the UN Army. Now, I've ordered the U.S. 8th Army Brigade to begin advancing northward on land. Ordered the U.S. 10th Brigade to land at Wonsan. Both brigades to converge on Pyongyang, cut off the People's Army's retreat, and continue advancing north until we take control of Korea. Mr. President, Generals, MacArthur only asks you to prepare medals, turkey, and good alcohol for Christmas.
All right.
All right, yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's great. General, it is a great honor for me and for the American people and for your soldiers. You make us all proud. The United Nations has asked our country to provide a coalition commander for this effort. They are looking for a certain man of caliber, and our General MacArthur is a man of that caliber. Clap with me now, and loud please, because I don't want to do this again, okay? So, may I please have the present? This special award I wish to confer. I award you this Special Medal of Honor for your outstanding services to your country. Wear it with pride.
Thank you, sir. To prove my point, I'd like the President to watch a movie with me.
So, okay. So what's this movie really about? Is it about you?
Only to explain further, the point of showing you this film is to show the warning has no potency. All their strength lies in their slogans, and they are incapable of deploying troops.
Okay, let's keep walking.